The other thing that's gotten Carly all fired up is a Chinese social media app called Pinduoduo. Is that how you? That's probably not how you say it in actual Mandarin.
In like Mandarin, they tend to be like Pinduoduo, like they kind of do it really fast at the end. But I don't know. Okay. I don't speak Mandarin.
I don't understand.
It's PINDUODUO.
So I'm the wrong person there. But tell me about this app and why it's taking over the world. Going to take over the world.
Okay, I think it's. I recently learned about this, and again, it's connected to me actually to the NFT conversation because it's all about social commerce, right? So this blending of our social media lives and our shopping lives, essentially, or our spending and buying lives. And China is eating our effing lunch. And this is just another example of that.
On this or in life?
In life, and this is a microcosm example of why, in my opinion. So I'll start with like the two elements of this that I think are cool. So essentially, this is an app. It started off as like almost like an agriculture buying platform. So you bought food and like fruit and things like that, as opposed to just a general commerce app. But they've expanded now to be in like a whole bunch of different goods. But they have this concept called team buying. So when you go on the Pinduoduo app, you see both an individual price and then a team price. And the team price is lower. Basically, if you're going to buy in bulk, right, you can get it for a cheaper price. So you either then can join an existing team, like an existing group of people that want that thing, or you can start your own team and like text all of your friends and be like, yo, you want to go in on a bunch of peaches this week with me, or a bunch of vacuum cleaners, or whatever the hell you're doing. Like, this is a cool product. And if they're like, yeah, you all hop in and now you all get a discount on this good. So, but they're tracking all of this data, obviously. And so they're starting to be able to map social relationships. They're mapping who has more influence. They're saying like, oh, wow, when this person sends their friends like something in the, clothing related, everybody clicks on it. A bunch of people buy. This person has a lot of influence in clothing. And so now the clothing people, instead of like going for just the famous influencers we know, they can say, okay, this person has like micro weight within their friend group and within their social circle. We'll target them with our ads. It'll be a little bit more expensive to target them because they'll share with their friends. And they do it by segments. So they say this person's influential in clothing, this person's influential in food.
And there's probably an algorithm that's showing it on real time when people are, oh, wow.
It speaks to how much data. Andrew talks about this. AI is like, gets better and is like eats data. And so the more data you can feed it, the more data you can feed it, the more it grows, the stronger it gets, et cetera. And this is just another area where China is getting so much freaking data that's really interesting and social mapping their entire country. And look, there's drawbacks too. I'm not excited about this because I'm like, oh, this is awesome. All this data about us is forever going to be available. But it is really interesting. The second component to this app, that's like the social component, the social commerce component to it, is the gamified component. So within this app is a game. It's called like Orchard, the Pinduoduo Orchard. And you like tend to this garden, you like grow your fruit. It's like, whatever, one of these kinds of games. But at certain levels, you get then free deliveries. They'll just send you a free box of fruit. So you actually win real prizes off of the app from playing this game. So like, it consolidates like everything you want to do in a place where you also shop. So they just are they're giving you every incentive to shop and spend more money. And it's fascinating. I mean, the advantage, I'll say the one advantage that China has over a place like the United States, well, there's many, but on something like this is they subsidize shipping. So this is where you can have members of a team from all over the country and you can still get this discounted rate and they can ship it,
the government
to many
subsidized
people.
Shipping for all their countries.
Yeah. It's something like that. For some reason, shipping for them is a lot cheaper than it is for us here. It's actually, there's something kind of archaic about the fact that, Instagram shows us a lot of ads about things we want to buy, but you click that ad, you get taken off of the Instagram app onto another website. And we're going to see that start to go away. This is my prediction, is like, you're going to see commerce be more directly integrated into these social media apps more and more, where you're buying directly from that social media platform. You're not clicking something and being taken to another site and like kind of moving you out of whatever you're in. It's going to become all one experience.
Do we know if this is going to come to the United States?
I don't know. I will tell you, this is a fun thing. Guess how many users they started in 2015. Guess how many users they have?
700 million.
Wow, very good. 788 million.
Oh, look at me. Look at that.
That was impressive.
Wow.
But damn, that's a lot. That's, I mean, more than more than double the population of the United States use this app. Oh, and I think that's weekly users or monthly users. Like that's regular active users is like 700 plus million people.
Craziest book I've read on the future of China and AI is called AI Superpowers by Kai-Fu Lee. And he said a couple things. So one of the things is China is better situated for mobile payments than the United States is. And mobile payments are so valuable for AI and for data gathering because let's say I'm just going to Chipotle and I bought something. If I do it with a credit card, there's only so much info. But if I do it with my phone, they know all the data that's on my phone, my shopping habits, my actual geo-targeted location, my gender, zip code, income, all those things, right? And so there's just more data around what you're so they can tie the purchase to who you are and your buying habits and things like that. And so the United States, we went from cash to credit cards very easily. That's an awesome jump, right? Like it's like, okay, instead of carrying all these bills and coins and crap, like having a credit card, way easier. That's awesome. Going from credit card to your phone in the United States, like it's a bit costly to change. Like you have to like put your credit card in the phone. Like you guys have used Apple Pay or other things, right? And what's the real benefit? You're probably still carrying a wallet. It's not that much better than carrying a credit card. It's slightly better, and there's a bit of a cost. So like it's slowly adopting here in the United States. China had never really gotten to credit cards. They were still in cash. So the difference between cash and WeChat is massive. So instead of using cash, they can put their bank account on WeChat. And so they've gone to mobile payment fast. And that is the big difference in terms of how much data they're getting in AI. And the second thing that blew my mind in that book is this concept that Kai-Fu Lee flipped on its head. I love your thoughts on this. He flipped on its head the concept of American Hustle today in 2020 when he wrote it, or 2021 today.
Not as in the movie starring Jennifer Lawrence.
She was in a movie called Hustle?
American Hustle.
Oh, she's in that? I thought that was Bradley Cooper was the star.
And Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence.
I'm
How sexist of you.
I'm an asshole.
Yes.
I forgot she was in that, to be honest with you. I love J-Law. I just think of other movies when I think of her.
She and Bradley Cooper did like 3 in a row together. That was one of them. Anyways, continue.
You think they dated?
That was always the rumor. I think he was in love with her. The like word on the street is he was in love with her and she rejected him.
Good for her. So Kai-Fu Lee said this. He basically put this notion that American entrepreneurs or this American hustle, where like we work harder, we've got that American spirit, like we're gonna kick ass, the cowboy mentality, like work. We're gonna have American ingenuity. People go, it's like, so he's like, you think you work hard in the United States? Like you guys have all like in these big startups we have at Facebook's or Google's, you have like, like nap rooms and all these cushy snacks and like wonderful work-life balances. You're talking about 3-day weekends, which we've been a proponent of, all these things. He's like, in China, like you started a company like a Facebook or any sort of startup in China, you're sleeping on the floor of the office, making no money and working all day, every day. You're sleeping on the floor. Okay,
let's be very clear. That was what happened at Google and Facebook in the early days. Like the early Google guys talk a lot about sleeping on the floor. But he's like,
this is more ingrained in the culture as opposed to America. There's like an exception where there's like, yes, people still do this in the United States, but this is like everybody in the US, in China. Like this is the DNA. And what he said, which is even deeper than that point, because that point you can debate back and forth. But he's like, in the United States, when we have a minimum viable product, we have a product people like that's growing, we declare victory. When you create Facebook, we're like, Facebook's awesome. Zuckerberg on the cover of Forbes magazine or whatever you want. Victory. We have it. Yay, America. Yay, Mark. Yay, people investing in that great company. Declare victory. In China, when you have a minimum viable product, they declare war. And he's like, and that's the IP laws, right? For sure.
Yeah.
And they just start stealing each other until, and what he argues in the book is at the end of this war, the company that comes out of it, because people just stealing each other's ideas and fake. And like, so the example would be like someone make Facebook.com, someone would make Facebook.co or a typo that's like Facebook with 2Ks or whatever it is, .com, and the website looks exactly the same, get all the information, make a competitor immediately. And so, but the companies that come out of this war have a bigger moat around their business to make them in some ways unbeatable, because they've had like legit street fights to exist. So it was fascinating. I mean, look, you blew my mind. And then he talks more about AI, but like talking about the culture of China and how they're going to win the AI super war, arms race, if you will, mind blowing. And this is another.
Yeah. So I'll say 100%. I absolutely think they're going to win the AI arms race, and they're going to become the superpower because of it. I will say it's interesting because I had read a book many years ago called Tiger Woman on Wall Street about this woman from, I think, Shanghai, ended up going to Middlebury, ended up getting to Wall Street, going onto Wall Street, whatever, getting a finance job. And she painted the lack of IP law and the lack of infrastructure around IP law in China as actually something that was going to keep it from being able to dominate the United States. This was all an analysis sort of in absence of AI. This was many years ago. But her argument was, look, there's no incentive to innovate essentially in China, because the second you sink a lot of money into R&D, like research and development, and you build a great product, somebody's going to come along, reverse engineer it, steal your idea. So why would you even why would you bother innovating to begin with? So that's where I think it's a double-edged sword. I read this book probably, I don't know how long ago now, probably a decade ago. And I do think some of it has remained true, but I think that this additional point of like, okay, but no, it's actually meant that like the people who survive or the companies that survive are like mega companies. I think clearly that's borne out too. And that was not something I was thinking about.
We don't need this endless human suffering of toiling the fields, if you will, or just like we're all work. And I always thought Switzerland had it right, where they like get one or two big cash cows of new inventions and new companies that come out of there, but they also have a great social safety net and people are generally content and happy. Now it's easier to run a country of how big is Switzerland? And like that's someone who's you could argue is a workaholic saying this, but I do think it's. Work, money, success, they don't correlate to happiness really at all at a certain point. So it's an interesting talk about human experience. But I love Carly's take, Pinduoduo.
Keep your eye out for that kind of general premise.
The way you've described this, I want this app. I want to play Farmville and get free discount, or I want to get discounted stuff. Maybe Instacart will get into this. That'd be great.